Welcome to SunnySpeaks, here again with another review for you, and you. And today I'm here to talk about Together, written and directed by Micheal Shanks, and starring Dave Franco, Alison Brie, Damon Herriman, and many more. Tim and Millie have been in a relationship for so long they don't even remember a time without each other. Struggling to find harmony, the couple moves to the country for a better job opportunity. But after they stumble upon a sunken cave in the woods, their lives start to become dangerously inseparable, which sparks the question if they are better apart or together. Together is another entry in this year's dark comedy horrors. Like I said before, this is the year for that for some reason. How does this directorial debut match up with other horror films that have released this year? First, let's talk about Tim and Millie, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie. I wouldn't have ever said I was a fan of Dave Franco while enjoying some of his work, like 21 Jump Street or The Disaster Artist. This movie got me the closest I've ever been to saying that. He really surprised me in this role, especially in the first act and the beginning of the second, where he's basically the main character. Tim is a 35-year-old musician without a job or a car, living in New York, holding on to his employed girlfriend for dear life. Though loving her a lot, naturally, resentment towards himself and the relationship he feels trapped in arises, and trauma from his past with family history makes it hard for others to trust him or for him to trust himself. Again, I thought Dave Franco was great in this role, being relatable but also pitiful and immature in ways, but never unlikable, which is a tough line to walk, and I think he does it well. Alison Brie, I'm familiar with mainly from Community and Glow on Netflix, two really good shows that I'd highly recommend. As Millie, I think it took some time for me to connect to her character because, like I said, for the first act and beginning of the second, you're seeing things through Tim's eyes, really. But during the second act, the story shifts a little. You're able to see Millie in a more three-dimensional way, and I really appreciated that. Millie is steady and grounded in her wants and desires, which can be a good and bad thing when dating an artist with grand dreams of a romanticized lifestyle. Her struggle of feeling like she's holding back the person she loves while also knowing that she is the foundation he walks on is interesting and well depicted through her expressions and sensibilities. The whole movie follows them together, and my favorite parts of the movie are when they're just talking. I loved their chemistry a lot. It makes sense, they're both working, well-known actors and are married in real life, but I bet their dynamic is different in real life than it is on screen. I'm curious though what they did bring from their lives into the roles, because their banter is so natural and I just loved it. And you gotta give credit to Micheal Shanks too for his writing, because between Tim and Millie, I found them both interesting, engaging, and I rooted for them despite their flaws and wanted to see them survive this very strange ordeal. The horror in Together is pretty good. I jump scare heavy and leans on body horror, which is always a cool thing to me. Feels like a roller coaster ride when body horror is a part of the journey, especially in this way when it's not just metaphorical to the story and themes, but becomes more aggressive and gory over time. I really enjoyed the scares in this, and just like in The Substance, which Together seems very inspired by, it never stops being fun for me. Though the horrific elements escalate further, a lot of times I would just laugh because of the absurdity on screen or because of the genuine good jokes that are in this movie. Comparing it to all the dark comedy horrors I've seen this year, it's probably up there for me in how it executes blending both genres and both being effective. I would put it on the same tier as The Monkey, actually enjoying Together more than The Monkey. The worst part of the movie is the third act, not being a complete drop off, but just not as strong as the first two, and leans too much into the comedy, when by the end, to me, we've built up the story enough for the audience to be able to feel the weight of the circumstances and to not let us as the watcher off so easy. But the movie wanted to be more fun than fearful, and I get why, while wishing it chose to be a little bolder. Overall, I would give Together a partly sunny rating. I'm happy to have the poster for this movie on my wall, and though it not being one of my favorite films of all time, or even this year probably, it's unique in its approach and has a very small cast but utilizes that beautifully. And it's a film I think most people would enjoy, honestly. Just don't expect things to be explained in the film. By the beginning of the second act, I told myself I don't need anything to be explained, I just need the plane to land. And I think though it having a rocky finish, it doesn't take away from the really good setup that had me on the edge of my seat and in anticipation most of the time. This has been my review of Together. If you have have seen Together, let me know what you think in the comments down below, because perspective is key. If you haven't seen Together, let me know if this review makes you want to go see the movie or not. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I'll be back again. Peace.